Well, hey, this is Rob, and I found a picture of my old Roland JX8P synthesizer, and I remembered that during the Dangerous project, I was one of the studio runners who worked at the studio where Michael Jackson recorded Dangerous. Anyway, during the project, they were looking for a synthesizer. I happen to have one at my house. That's the one you're seeing right there. And they ended up renting it from me for like a month to use on the Dangerous project. And I think, if I remember, what they wanted it for was they had multiple synthesizer players who were in and out of the studio, who brought their equipment in, but they wanted to have a keyboard there on site, just in case Michael wanted to, noodle around with it. Now, I know I've done other videos saying Michael couldn't play any instrument at all, and, I think basically that is true. But, of course, he could put a finger on a keyboard and maybe hear a sound or get an idea or something or other. I never really got the full story of what they did with it. I know for a long time it sat in the corner of the studio. And then one day I noticed it had been moved, and I asked, and they said, yeah, we used it today. So I don't know if my synthesizer was on the Dangerous record, or they just messed around with it, or whatever. But that's the one you're looking at right there that got used for something on Dangerous. I posted a picture of my old home studio on this Facebook group, and I got hundreds of people commenting. So I thought I'd just show my old studio. That is the Roland JX8P synthesizer. The thing on top of it was a programmer called the PG800. That thing is like $700 alone now. And the synth hasn't gotten too expensive. I paid $500 for mine, close to 40 years ago, and they're still worth around $600-700. Those are the Alesis drum machine, and right next to it is the MMT8 sequencer, where you could program keyboard parts. I had a Fostex 4-track cassette recorder you can see there, and below that I had a Proteus sound module and a couple of effects units, an SPX90 and a Digitech, I think it's called a DSP 128. And this was my, home recording setup in the early 90s. See the cinder blocks and the bricks, which is a really terrible way to have to set things up. The cinder blocks are heavy, and you would, cut your hand and, bang your hand into them and whatever. And then during the 94 earthquake, of course, the whole thing fell apart. So anyway, this is the second picture I found, and I expanded my setup a little bit to include space for a 1962 or 3, I think, deluxe Fender amp, and my 1968 Gibson 330 guitar. Man, I wish I had either one of those or both. Of course, every single piece of gear you see in this picture and in the last picture has been sold over the years and replaced, sadly. I probably still own all those CDs, though, on the right, but that's about it. They come and they go. What can you do? But anyway, I just thought it'd be fun to show that synthesizer, which did have some use on the Dangerous record. Like I said, I don't know if it got recorded or they just messed around with it or whatever, but they had it for like a month. I rented that thing to the production, and it paid for itself like 6 times over. I don't know. It was a pretty good deal for me, actually, because I certainly wasn't making a lot of money back then, picking up lunch for the engineers at the studio. All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.